This cinematic story begins by showing the era when gods used to live on Earth. They all had one goddess, who possessed a vast amount of cosmic powers. With those powers, she would destroy enemies and maintain balance all around. However, that goddess couldn't be present everywhere, so she used her cosmic power to create some guards who contained 1% of her energy. These guards had a mission: to spread across different parts of Earth and eliminate the enemies causing tyranny. Each of them carried enough cosmic energy to defeat even the strongest foes. The goddess herself would take birth on Earth once every few years to keep everything under control. In one such cycle, the goddess was born as a child and was saved by a guardian who raised and protected her. Now the story moves forward several years. A boy named C is missing his sister deeply. Years ago, his sister had gone missing, and since then, he has been searching for her. All he remembers is that, during their childhood, they used to train together. His sister always motivated him to fight well, not just to defend himself from enemies, but also to prove his abilities to society. Currently, C is in an illegal battleground where the owner is calling him in to fight. In that ring, many fighters enter and battle each other, and the fight doesn't stop until one of them dies. A huge crowd is gathered there, placing various bets. The owner tells C to fight well so that the people bet generously. He explains this because C's opponent is extremely dangerous, someone known never to have lost a match. Soon the fight begins. C enters the battleground, and so does his terrifying opponent, who immediately launches an attack. A brutal fight breaks out. C's opponent attacks relentlessly and rapidly, but C doesn't counterattack, he just dodges, swiftly moving around with great agility. Watching this is oddly satisfying, as if C knows exactly what attacks are coming. So far, his opponent hasn't landed a single punch. But the owner isn't happy. He wants both fighters to go all out and destroy each other. That's what draws in a bigger audience and better betting. However, C continues only dodging. Eventually, this frustrates the owner so much that he jumps into the ring himself. First, he knocks out C's opponent and then begins attacking C directly. Surprisingly, C is unable to dodge the owner's attacks, perhaps because they're just too fast. The battle is far beyond what C can handle. The owner beats him so badly that he can barely stand. The spectators, however, are enjoying every moment of this cruelty. At one point, the owner continues punching C again and again without stopping. It seemed like C wouldn't survive now. But in the very next moment, he remembered his sister. As soon as he thought of her, a sudden surge of power awakened inside his body. As he fell to the ground, cosmic energies began to emerge from within him. These energies were so powerful that they sent the owner flying across the arena. The owner had never experienced anything like this before. Everyone thought C had lost because he wasn't getting up. But suddenly, he stood up and landed a powerful punch before escaping from the ring. That single punch and kick carried so much strength that the owner could still feel the impact. C ran to the locker room, quickly grabbed his clothes, and began to leave. But just then, a strange man entered. He spoke to C about an offer. He said, "If you want to know more about yourself, or where your sister is, then follow me, someone wants to meet you." Hearing about his sister, C couldn't stop himself and began following the man. The stranger took him to an abandoned place. Just as C started figuring things out, a businessman appeared. This man began warning C about a danger, and he somehow already knew that C had hidden powers within him. The businessman clarified everything. He told C that his wife, Venda, was going around gathering people who possessed strange powers. Venda was extremely evil, all she cared about was becoming more powerful. And she would definitely come to this very location to capture C. The businessman said clearly, "If you want to stay alive and find out the truth about your sister, come with me. You'll have to join us, or your life will also be in danger." Just then, 2 soldiers landed at the spot. They were sent by Venda, the businessman's wife, and were incredibly powerful. They immediately attacked anything that came in their way. Their speed was so insane that the businessman's companion was defeated in just 1 second. It became clear that these soldiers had come to capture both C and the businessman. Everyone started running to save their lives along with C. Suddenly, a bald man arrived. He was with the businessman and had some special bullets, which he used to fire rapidly at the enemies, but even those attacks couldn't stop them. Now, a spaceship appeared in the sky. It had come to capture them as well. It was clearly sent by Venda. The bald man quickly pushed C and the businessman into a car and prepared to flee. He drove at high speed, but the spaceship above them began firing. Missiles rained down, causing explosions everywhere. Still, the bald man kept trying his best to escape. They were trying to take C to a safe place. At this point, C started getting frustrated with the businessman, questioning him about where they were going and what was happening. The businessman told the bald man to knock C out first. So, they made C unconscious and escaped to another location. But it seemed like the businessman's wife, Venda, and her people were still following them. During the fight earlier, some cosmic energies had emerged from C's body, and sensing those energies, Venda herself had come looking for him. She had been searching across the world for people with such powers, so she could continue her secret experiments. While C was unconscious, he started having visions. In them, he saw his elder sister and how she used to protect him. In one vision, she was hiding him inside a cupboard, and just then, there was a huge explosion. Some people broke into the room and took his sister away in front of his eyes. They had plans for her. C kept seeing this vision again and again. When he finally opened his eyes, he found himself inside a private plane. In front of him were the businessman and the bald man. The businessman explained that they had narrowly escaped. If they hadn't left when they did, they would have been killed. C was still troubled and needed answers. Soon, they landed the private plane at a massive mansion, the businessman's property, indicating how wealthy he was. Inside the mansion, the businessman began to reveal everything. He took C to a dead body and said, "This is our goddess. Her body contains an immense amount of cosmic energy. Once every few thousand years, she takes human form, and it seems she has now taken birth in this era within a human body." The goddess used to have protectors, and those same powers were now being detected in C. That's why the businessman asked C to become the goddess's protector. He said all C needed was to enhance his skills a bit, which could be done through training. But C wasn't convinced. He found all of this absurd and hard to believe. As he was about to leave, a girl appeared, the businessman's daughter, named Leona. It was then revealed that the goddess had reincarnated into Leona's body. Leona needed to be kept safe at all costs, at least until she could control her powers. Obviously, the goddess's body held a massive amount of cosmic energy, and Leona wasn't yet capable of handling it properly. While speaking with C, Leona handed him a locket, a relic that once belonged to one of the goddess's protectors. The locket formed a protective shield. Leona explained that only through this locket would C be able to fight the goddess's enemies. Along with it, he would also need to improve his own skills. The businessman urged C again to become their protector, promising that in return, they would help him find his sister. For now, everyone went to eat together. Meanwhile, back at the battle arena, we saw the owner, the same one who had fought C earlier. Suddenly, Venda and her allies arrived in front of him. They began attacking the owner brutally, as they believed he might know how to capture C. But the owner couldn't do anything to stop them. Venda was determined to acquire C's powers at any cost. So, she ordered her men to beat the owner even more brutally. Meanwhile, C and the others were sitting and having lunch. C was having a long conversation with Leona, asking her what it felt like to be a goddess. Leona clearly said that she hadn't received all her powers yet, and that before anything, one must first learn to control those powers. As they were talking and getting a little more comfortable with each other, a strange energy suddenly began to spread around them. It was cosmic energy radiating from Leona's body, expanding rapidly in all directions. As soon as this energy flared up, all nearby doors automatically sealed shut. Leona began to scream because she couldn't control the powers erupting from within her. When C rushed to help her, the businessman stopped him, warning that if C touched that energy, he could be destroyed. Gradually, Leona managed to calm herself and bring her powers back under control. This kind of thing happened occasionally, when her powers peaked uncontrollably. The businessman had set up systems so that if such energy bursts occurred, the doors would automatically close, making sure that Venda and her people wouldn't sense anything from outside. Back at the battleground, the owner was being brutally beaten, yet he was still putting up a fight. Venda and her allies realized that although he might not be able to defeat C, he could still give them a tough challenge. So instead of killing him, they decided to use him in their experiments. Meanwhile, C was shown sitting by the ocean, lost in thought. Leona joined him shortly and began talking about her past, how she was born in this form and how Venda, the businessman's wife, wanted to absorb all her powers. Venda constantly conducted strange and dangerous experiments to achieve that goal. C also began to open up, explaining how his sister was taken from him during childhood. And now, he was convinced that Venda and her people were the ones behind her abduction. At this moment, C made a firm decision: he would strengthen his powers, learn to control them, and undergo proper training. Only then could he hope to uncover the truth about his sister. Meanwhile, Venda had started using a completely new type of energy. They were experimenting on the owner, injecting nanoparticles into his body that would make him extremely powerful. Venda planned to use him as a weapon to capture C. Now C was shown preparing for his next phase of training. He was about to be sent to a warrior known as Silver Knight for advanced training. Leona gave C plenty of food and supplies for his journey so that he could stay safe. It seemed like C and Leona were starting to like each other. C then immediately left with the bald man to begin his training under Silver Knight. After some time, they reached a rocky area, where the bald man told C that he would find Silver Knight at the top of the mountain, meaning C had to climb all the way up. It was also revealed that he would need to be extremely cautious, as Silver Knight's training could be life-threatening. But C was determined, so he began his climb. As he climbed the stormy mountain, facing fierce winds, he finally reached the top, where he found Silver Knight waiting. C told her he wanted to train under her, but she asked, "If you train, who will you protect?" C, focused only on finding his sister, replied accordingly. But Silver Knight believed that after training, C would have to protect the goddess, indirectly referring to Leona. C's response disappointed her, and she turned to leave. C quickly followed her and pleaded for another chance, promising that he would protect the goddess at any cost. He only needed the proper training. Silver Knight then pointed to a large rock and told him to break it with a punch. When C punched it, he injured his hand. It was clear how physically weak he still was. Silver Knight told him that he had to gather his internal energy, and learn to extract power from everything around him, only then could he become strong. She herself shattered the rock with ease. C, now feeling challenged in his pride, tried again, thinking of his sister, and eventually managed to break the rock. In that short moment, a glimpse of his cosmic energy had surfaced. Silver Knight saw this and decided she would begin his training. Meanwhile, at the headquarters, Venda had completed her secret experiment. She had applied advanced technology to the owner's body. When the owner regained consciousness, the entire lower part of his body had become robotic. His overall structure was now changed. He had become much stronger and more intelligent than before. To adapt to his new form, he fought several of Venda's soldiers, and surprisingly, the same battle arena owner who once couldn't defeat her forces was now easily overpowering them. But when he tried to punch Venda, she blocked it, proving he still wasn't stronger than her. Back with C, his training had begun in full swing. But Silver Knight showed no mercy. She behaved very strictly and pushed C to his limits, causing him serious pain so he could learn faster. Elsewhere, in the businessman's mansion, Leona had a terrifying dream. In it, she saw that she was unable to control the cosmic energy inside her, and it grew so powerful that it destroyed the entire world. Terrified by the dream, she screamed. The businessman rushed in to comfort her. Leona told him about the vision, and now she was truly frightened of what she might become. Several months passed like this. C continued his training and kept getting stronger. Silver Knight tried everything to make C release his cosmic energy, even provoking him deliberately to make him angry so the energy would flow more freely. At night, after training, Silver Knight would often talk to C about not thinking too much about his past and instead focusing on the future ahead. Day by day, C kept improving, and his cosmic power continued to grow. He was now able to control it much better than before. Eventually, there came a moment when C actually defeated Silver Knight in battle. He fought her so intensely that she could no longer continue. The stones that were once difficult to break, C could now easily shatter using his cosmic energy. In fact, when challenged by Silver Knight, he even broke a rock bigger than himself using his powers. Then, suddenly, the locket C had been wearing began to glow. From it, a strange box formed, and a shield emerged. The shield started attaching itself completely to C's body, making him immensely powerful. This meant that his training was now complete, and he was finally ready for the battles ahead. But just then, C started having visions again. In these visions, he saw his sister and how Venda had come to capture her. During that moment, C also caught a glimpse of the businessman, which made him realize that the businessman might also have been involved in his sister's kidnapping. Filled with rage, C rushed to the businessman's house and started demanding answers, asking where his sister was. Leona understood the confusion C was going through, so she took him to another location to explain everything. Leona then told him that many years ago, when his sister was being kidnapped, it was all done intentionally, to save his life. The truth was that when Leona was young, she had the powers of the goddess within her. Back then, she couldn't control them, and one day, a massive explosion occurred due to her. Venda was badly injured in that incident. Her arms and legs were severely damaged. The businessman had spent a fortune to save his wife's life. But the real problem was that, in order to survive, Venda now needed cosmic energy. That's why she began using her network to find people whose bodies contained this power. C then learned another painful truth: his sister never had any cosmic energy. She had deliberately stepped forward to sacrifice herself, to save C's life. And now, Venda was after C to extract the energy from him. Just then, the bald man rushed in to tell the businessman that Venda was approaching with her entire army. An attack was inevitable, they had to do something. Within moments, Venda's massive army had arrived with only one goal, to capture Leona. C also reached the battlefield, and his first fight was against the arena owner he had previously fought. This time, the owner had a new, powerful armor, but for some reason, C couldn't activate his own armor, making him much weaker. As a result, he was beaten badly, and Venda successfully kidnapped Leona and escaped. Just then, C remembered something Silver Knight had told him: "You must focus on yourself." That gave him clarity, and he immediately set out to rescue Leona. Meanwhile, Venda began her extraction process to draw out Leona's powers for herself. But what she didn't realize was that C and Baldman had already arrived, ready to fight. C deployed his armor fully around himself and charged into battle. Whoever stood in his way, he defeated them with ease, even defeating the powerful owner. Then it was revealed that there was another warrior in Venda's team who had powers similar to C. He carried the power of the Red Knight and was planning to kill Leona himself to absorb her energy. When Venda found out, she turned against him, but the Red Knight was too powerful. He knocked Venda unconscious and stepped outside, where he clashed with C. Both wielding similar cosmic powers, their battle was intense, destroying everything around them. But soon, a bigger problem emerged: the experiment on Leona went out of control. At this critical moment, surprisingly, Venda helped. She rushed to shut down the machine. But Leona's powers were already spiraling. She started tapping into goddess-level energy, and the first thing she did was destroy the Red Knight. However, Leona was losing control, and it seemed like she could destroy the entire planet. C slowly approached her to calm her down. When he touched her, Leona regained control. She stabilized her powers and collapsed, unconscious but safe. All the enemies had been defeated. Now, C and Leona began talking about spending their lives together. And with that, our story comes to an end.